That must mean that a bunch of new home buyers are going out there and buying new properties. And the answer is a hella no. That's not happening at all. Sell. Sell absolutely everything. And this is the message that is coming from Michael Burry, that famed investor. And we know we had that awesome movie many years ago now after the GFC. It was called The Big Short. If you haven't seen that, I really think everyone should. It's a really entertaining movie. It's very easy to understand. And I think it's great when we look at the world the way it is today. Now, Michael Burry made billions of dollars by identifying the problem that was in the market before. Now, earlier in the year, Michael Burry was tweeting, "You cannot believe how short I am." He has sold a lot of his stocks, but he's kept on to a couple, including like some private prisons, for example, because whether the economy goes up or down, for some reason, we still keep producing criminals. But let's take a look at what he's warning us today, you guys. I got a couple things to show you. This is the article that I was talking about. This is Michael Burry, and he's giving his grave warning to investors with a one-word tweet today that just says, "Sell." Now, he is warning everybody about that, and he's saying that the S&P 500's rebound is going to be short-lived, similar to the dot-com crash. Now, what he is warning about, you guys, is something that is called the dead cat bounce. If you've never heard of a dead cat bounce, man, you should know about it because it's happening all the time in the market, that there is going to be a bounce. The stock market doesn't drop at a regular interval the entire way down. It's kind of jagged. It's kind of sawtooth all the time. Let's take a look at an example, you guys. Take a look at this chart right here of dead cat bounce around 2000, 2002. The dot-com, do you notice it was down 11, up 12, down 27, up 19, down 26, up 21, down 8, up 8, down 32, plus 21. But do you notice that the drops are a lot larger than the gains? But the gains sucker people in because they believe they're at a time now where they can get their money back, and it keeps dropping. But notice that these drops happen from 2000 all the way down to 2003. That's 2 years. And so people have very short-term memories. And even since 2000, you guys, it's gotten worse. Now everybody seems to want to make 10,000% on Dogcoin of some kind. That is what I wanted to point out to you. That's what a dead cat bounce is. And if you notice over here, we can see that stocks fallen by 45% after rising almost 50. They go on to fall by 80. Oh my goodness. They just suckered everyone in. And you notice there was gains 8, 9, 12, 14%. And there was drops 23, 27, 35. We saw 20% dead cat bounce in 1973 and 74. So what is that? Now let's take a look at this chart. He's referring to 2001. Do you notice that the market was going bananas, 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 bananas? And this is the dot-com crisis, all the way up here, super high, hitting an absolute record. And when we did, it drops like crazy. But look at that bump up. That bump up is the dead cat bounce that he's referring to. Then it massive drops, a little up, massive drop, a little bit up, massive drop. And you notice that this all plays out till 2003. But can you see where it bottoms out finally is down around 1200, and it was all the way past 5,000. So it dropped 80%, but it took 2 years to do that. Now let's fast forward to where we are today, because this is showing us where he expects. Now, if we go back obviously to 2020, it was dodgy in 2020. We know that. And then as the money printers were turned on, it just went absolutely parabolic, hitting records after record after record until the fall of 2021. Now, as you can see, it massive drops, there is a bump up. Massive drops, there is a bump up. Now, this was coming back into November of last year. There was a bump up. But if we zoom out on this calendar, this whole map, it looks a lot like 2001 again. Now, since December, there has been this general trend upward in January. So my question to you is, what do you think is telling us that there's a big bump in January? I can tell you, as you guys know, I'm a real estate broker, operate in the beautiful city of Toronto, Canada. We operate as advisors and consultants to people all over North America. And if it's something that you're interested in, you can click the link in the bio below. But let me tell you something, that the interest rates for your mortgages follow the bond market. And so as we've seen it soften, we've seen some of the mortgage rates come down recently. So people have jumped in the market to refinance their property and kind of lock in a lower rate without waiting for the rates to go higher, because as we saw, the central bank today is mentioning that they're going to be raising the rates again. So they're going to tie it in. But from the banking perspective, they're like, well, there's an uptick in mortgages that is being asked. So that must mean that a bunch of new home buyers are going out there and buying new properties. And the answer is a hella no. That's not happening at all. We're seeing these people go in and lock in those rates, but it has nothing to do with measuring where the market is. So remember that these rates that are going up right now, this is not normal. Now, let me show you some interesting information about Toronto, where I am. So if you look at this property right here, there has been 94,000 homes that have sold in the past 12 months in Toronto. As you see down here, 94,000 properties have sold in the past 12 months. That is a lot of houses. Can you see them all here? Now, if we wanted to go bananas, we could actually zoom into the individual areas and look at every single house that has sold. So I'm just trying to say there's a lot of data here. But if we look at all the data, remember, there is no market. That doesn't happen. The market doesn't really exist. There's many, many different markets. I'm going to do this live with you because I want you to actually believe the results. So if you look at all of Toronto in the past 12 months, this doesn't matter if it is condos or houses, it's everything put together, it is down on average 17%. 17%. Now that is like cataclysmic, okay? Because if this happened in any other time in history that home prices dropped 10% somewhere, they would have already been waving a white flag and said, I give up, mercy, mercy, the market is tanking. But for some crazy reason, we're not even admitting that there is a recession, which kind of tells me something for all of us. We need to learn the answers for ourselves because the writing was in the tea leaves from years ago. Try to pick up a book like The End of the World is Just the Beginning by Peter Zian. Fantastic book. Try to go read this book. Some of the best books of last year. Ray Dalio, The Changing World Order. Fantastic books for you to get a little bit of an idea in the world. So remember that the economies, they cannot wave a flag and tell everybody that the world is going to come to an end. They can't do that. Things have to proceed in its natural way. But majority of people aren't going to take the time to go and figure out the answers for themselves. So be careful where you get all your information from is my point. So let's go back to this screen over here. And I want to show you, this is the prices that have fallen. So once they started raising interest rates, wham, 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 wham. So before it was almost 1.3 million a year ago today, February 22. And we've just seen the prices getting pummeled, 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 pummeled. Now it's at $1 million. Average loss of properties is 30% here. The reason why you see this say 16.8 is because it's measuring since January. Okay. But in the past 12 months, rolling 12 months, we don't have January yet. We just finished it. Look from top to bottom, we're down 30%. Now, let's take a look. That's on average all properties. Let's take a look at the sales to asking ratio to see where we're at. Back last year, people were offering 120% of asking. That is the average. I don't even know. I've never seen that in my life. On average, people were paying 20% more than what they were asking. Now, of course, people were being stupid, listing their property exceptionally low. It was crazy. Okay. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But the average being 20% over, unbelievable. And we've seen the interest rates getting clobbered. We have seen this decline in prices. And now people are still expecting to get a price under what it's listed at. So be careful how you list things. If we look at how long it's taking to sell a property, it's not really surprising. In a lot of areas last year, it was taking 3 days to sell. Now it's taking 30 days to sell. And so, like I'm always saying, there is not just one market, you guys, and it doesn't matter what city you're in. There's major cities, in the millions. There's medium cities, that are under a million. There's small towns that are 10,000, and they're all going to operate completely differently. But even if we just take a big, big, big city like where I am in Toronto, you can pick out one city block. So you would say that's all in the same area code. It's all the exact same. One bedroom condo right now is up 10% year over year. Up. Two bedroom condo up 12% year over year. I thought you said the market's going down, David. But you can look at single family homes that are freeholds that are down 30% year over year. So in the same couple blocks, you'll have a condo that's up 10 and a house that's down 30. And you'll also have commercial real estate that's down 40%. in some areas. So it really, really isn't just local. Everything is hyper local and hyper specific as a type of product. That's like going to the grocery store and saying that all food is up 10%. Well, eggs we saw are up 60%. But you may run into something else like celery that has not gone up. This is what I'm trying to say is every product is different. And so we have to really, really sit back and do some more interesting numbers with that. This is why people are always throwing out the easy answer, thinking that there may be an easy answer. Where should I buy real estate? What kind of real estate should I buy? Well, it depends on your personal situation, right? Whatever your savings rate is, what your risk tolerance is, what kind of timeline do you have? How much cash do you have? Can you get a credit? What's your credit score? Like, I mean, it's unbelievable how many questions that you can go through. And so this is what I want you to think about. Be inspired to be curious and to try to find those answers. But these guys, Peter Zian and Ray Dalio, are some of the best books I read last year. Here's the crazy part. This guy is telling you that China is going to collapse within 10 years. This guy is telling you that China is going to take over the world. How can the two of the smartest guys on the planet have opposite opinions? And so this is where it's up to you to read this stuff and really be able to distill it down based on your knowledge to come up with a very, very good action plan, an action plan on how to get out. I'm going to tell you one story about my dad. My dad, greatest friend of my entire life. He was a legend and I love him more than life itself. He took me hunting before and he handed me, after we were walking around the forest, many, many, many miles from home, he handed me a map and a compass. Now, he had given me a ton of training on maps and compasses before. And so that map and that compass, I knew how to work them. But here I am like 12 years old and he got me lost in the woods. We had no idea where we were. Like I had no idea. My dad did. And he said, which way do I go home? How do we get out of here? I'm like, I don't know. And I just pointed like that way. And he goes, nope. And he gave me a map and a compass and he said, get us out of here. Now he started following me in the wrong direction for hours, going the wrong direction. I think back, like, how on earth did my dad do that? Like walking like hours in the wrong direction. But he was doing this to teach me a lesson. He wanted me to have the self-confidence to be able to look at the map, see the problems, see the lakes, see the mountains, see where we got to go, and formulate that plan in my head and stick to that plan to get us out, knowing that I'm going to make mistakes along the road and I'm going to recorrect along my path until I get home. I want you to think about that. So me getting home at the time was one of the worst experiences for me. I got to tell you, I was crying. I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I'm freezing. I'm scared. Right. But when I got home, I got to tell you, I was the happiest kid in the world because I was beaming with pride that I did this. But it was because of the things that my dad had taught me. So my point to you is go get some books, start reading the books, follow people, assimilate all that information. Be curious, my friends, about this type of stuff, because as the economy is always changing and you're gaining experience, you're going to be able to formulate that plan like I did on that map, know where I have to go. As things are changing, as you run into a creek or another problem, you're going to be always recorrecting, always knowing where you're heading. And that same principle that I learned at 12 years old, I still apply in my life today. So thanks, Dad, for all that stuff. Anyway, I hope that my dad is helping you a little bit in your journey. Things are going to continue to change. We're in a really bad situation. As of last April, I started telling people they got to sell their properties. And here's the problem. The majority of people will ask their best friend who has no experience or anything what their opinion is. And for some reason, that will hold more water for them. Now, this is all humans. And typically, we only do something that is too late. Almost every one of the clients that I've dealt with in our real estate practice as a brokerage, and you could always reach out to us where we operate all over the greater Toronto area. We sell properties all over, but almost all the clients typically will all say, well, I'm going to hang on and see what happens. And hang on and see what happens. And this is what wipes people out. Did you notice those debt cat bounces? It'll drop 80% in a couple of years. Now, I'm not saying real estate's going to drop 80%. It's not possible. Material, labor is still going up, but you're already seeing a decimation. Imagine 30% of 1.3 million. You're now down $400,000. Do you know what I mean? Your entire life savings is gonzo. And now when you go to refinance, the banks are not going to lend you that money. So big dangers that are coming, you guys. So be smart, Plan out that entire route for your family because I'm sure you can make it. If this video gives you any value at all, please consider subscribing, tell your friends about it. It really helps us out here at the channel. And I'll talk to you guys on the next video. Thanks very much for coming by. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you like that video, you might like this one and maybe something like that.